The manager of the 1953 team, and one of the best teams ever in the history of professional baseball, was Danny Carnevale. One of his star hurlers was pitcher Al Taylor. Longtime sports writer of the Post-Journal, Frank Hyde, chronicled the career of Jeremiah Klein, known to many, many Jamestown people as Jerry Klein. In one of his last articles, Frank recalled Jerry Klein as singer, poet, fatherly advisor to rookie players, was a minor league institution. In his eulogy, Frank Hyde was quoted as saying, "Minor League Baseball's active list lost one of its most colorful characters when the big umpire in the sky called a third strike on Jerry Klein, the stocky, slow-moving but quick-witted and often sharp-tongued man of many training camp talents." He said Jerry was a singer and a poet of sorts. However, privately, Jerry would admit, "Hell, I can't even call hogs," but he was entertaining. Klein prized one song he often delivered at baseball gatherings, including those attended by many major league officials, which never failed to delight his audience. Here's Phil Regan's Reminiscences. Jerry Klein was born June 21st, 1902, a son of Isaac and Molly Klein. His parents had come from Germany and went to Ludlow, Pennsylvania. There they moved to Warren, Pennsylvania, where Jerry was born. After 6 years, Jerry moved to Jamestown, New York, where he met his wife. Jerry Klein was born in Warren, Pennsylvania on June 21st, 1902, the son of Isaac and Molly Klein. His parents came from Germany and settled in Ludlow, Pennsylvania. They then moved to Warren, Pennsylvania. At age 6, Jerry moved to the Jamestown, New York area, where he settled and ultimately met his wife, Hazel Finnerty. While in Jamestown, Jerry had a variety of jobs, including working at Marlin Rockwell as an inspector. He ran a taxi company, operated a newsroom on Washington Street, a candy store at 8th and Main, and during his more tender years was a streetcar conductor. But his real claim to fame in this area was when he connected with the Detroit Tigers and became the jack of all trades. A man who served just about every function there was to be had at the ballpark was Kinky Kinberg. He started off as the sports director of radio WJOC and covered a variety of Jamestown Falcons games, and subsequently became its owner in 1956, Jerry Lawson. Frank Hyde wrote in one of his articles about a trip that Frank and Jerry took in Lakeland, Florida, and while coming north from their training base, they stopped in a town in Pennsylvania. Unfortunately, the bus had broken down. Frank Hyde reported that one time when they were coming up from Lakeland, Florida with the Falcons, the bus heading north from the training camp broke down in a Pennsylvania town. Taking advantage of the 2-hour lull in travel, Jerry Klein and Frank Hyde were wandering about the main street, sort of window shopping. It was a Friday afternoon and the streets were crowded with hurrying shoppers. "What do you think would happen if I stopped on a corner and sang my rookie song?" Jerry asked. "I advised them to lay off. Pointing out small-town police are sometimes touchy about visitors disturbing the peace, and their slammers are cold, cheerless places." "Betcha a chicken dinner," Jerry grinned. So at the next corner, the round man removed his cap and launched into his rookie song, his bassoon voice echoing up and down the street. In a matter of moments, a crowd of hundreds were jamming up the intersection. When Jerry finished, his audience gave him a rousing round of applause, but I was nearly correct about the slammer. A policeman, who had untangled the resultant traffic snarl, walked over, halted us, and warned, "That was fine, but I need a singing troubadour on my beat like I need a hole in the head." Frank went on to state, "Needless to say, I lost a chicken dinner." One of the star pitchers for the 1948 and 1949 Falcons was Dave Werner. Manager of the 1951, 52, and 1955 Jamestown Falcons, Tony Lupian. "1962 was a championship year for the Jamestown Tigers, and there was Jerry Klein. The bat boy that year was Steve Johnson. It was also reported that Jerry Klein drove bus for many Jamestown managers: Marv Olson, Bob Shockey, Tony Lupian, Danny Carnevale, Danny Litweiler, Wayne Blackburn, Jack Papke, and Pat Mullen. He also said losing managers are often hard to drive for en route home. In fact, Marv Olson would grab the wheel and drive for the first 50 miles after they lost. It was also reported that Pat Mullen, when he managed Jamestown, was chagrined over the fact that there was no Irishman on the team. So he rechristened Jerry to Jerry O'Klein. Jerry was just about everything. He was the bus driver, he was the best fan on the road, and certainly a showman. And when he was selling, he'd often sell popsicles. And what he'd use is, "Give your tongue a sleigh ride, buy some ice pops." That was Jerry Klein. A 1962 article entitled "Klein Named" went on to state that Jerry Klein, a resident of Jamestown for the greater part of his life and a 14-year veteran in the Detroit Tigers organization, will be the trainer and clubhouse attendant for the 1962 edition of the Jamestown Club. It further went on to state that Klein, probably as well known to sports fans of Jamestown vicinity as any non-athlete, was with the Jamestown Tigers in 1961 in the capacity of concessions overseer. The colorful Jerry first entered the service of the Detroit organization as a driver for the old Jamestown Falcons in 1948. It also went on to state that during the last several winters, Klein has maintained off-season watch of the Tigertown premises and properties in Lakeland, Florida. Jamestowners fans will recall Klein for his feats during another phase of his career. He was one of the ace pitchers in the long since defunct Jamestown Morning Post Softball League. Jerry would continue to work for the Detroit Tigers until his death, and would be involved in the Jamestown Tigers through 1965, when a rift occurred between the Tigers and the Jamestown team. Ralph Snyder, who was the assistant general manager, said to Marty Haynes, "I'm shocked." And Marty Haynes says, "We are shocked over you being shocked." Lots of ill feeling between Jamestown and Detroit over leaving them with such a lousy team in 1965 resulted in the severing of the relationships. It also severed a long-time relationship that Jerry had with the Jamestown Ball Club. From all of us to all of you, Jerry, thanks for the memories.